San Francisco, 1851. A brawling youngster of a city, floating on a tide of gold from the diggings on the Yuba, Sacramento, Feather, and Tuolumne. The city was incredibly rich and incredibly short of hard currency. Banks issued their own notes, which were backed by the raw gold they held in their safes. Gold which was a standing invitation to the thieves who swarmed into the city. It was a mecca for the cleverest thieves, fakers, con men, and swindlers in the world. This is the story of an historic swindle which nearly wrecked the whole of San Francisco's economy.
The Californians.
California, I've come to live where life is best. In the Golden West, I'm gonna strike it rich in California. California.
I don't know exactly how it came about, but it seemed that almost overnight, I, Dee, and Patrick was taken up by the best people in San Francisco. I found it thoroughly enjoyable.
Oh, Mr. Patrick, now you mustn't. You must think I'm an awful hussy.
That's right,
Sir?
but an awful nice one.
Do you really think so?
Come here, let me show you.
No, Mr. Patrick. Anyway, not here. Someone might see and tell Papa.
Where?
Well, we'll find a place. Now, help me out.
That's all, driver. I'll walk from here. When?
Call on me tomorrow. Oh, you mustn't be so greedy. Oh. Tomorrow.
What's the matter, dear? Ain't you speaking to your Aunt Molly anymore?
Hello, Molly.
Missed you, kid. You ain't been around lately.
Well, I've been busy, Molly.
Come on in and sit down. Let's gab a little. It'll do you good. You ain't been down this way for a long time. So you've been busy?
That's right.
Yeah. That's what I heard. The Grafton filly, huh?
I've been seeing Miss Grafton, yes.
Don't like that youngin's mouth.
What?
Always could tell character by a person's mouth. You watch that Grafton filly. Got a mean mouth. Like she'd been chowing on a Spanish bit.
Now, wait a minute, Molly.
Got it real bad, ain't you, kid? Ever stop to figure out why a banker's daughter would take up with a busted-up newspaper man? Know her old man. Real gay old sport. Oh, shucks, Sonny. Just 'cause a man's a banker don't mean he can't come into a saloon once in a while and have a drink. Although I ain't got much use for them paper money bankers. And that's what I tell the girls. I say, girls, you can always tell a gent by the ring of his coin. And if it don't ring, he ain't no gent. Don't take nothing but hard money, girls. Many a gal's just danced her feet right down to the ankles and ruined her tubing, drinking with gents who paid off in paper as false as their dirty black hearts.
Now, what are you getting at?
Just telling you. Don't buy a pig in a poke and don't get tangled up with a dame until you know what she's after. And if you get hurt, you just come on around and let your Aunt Molly make it better.
Are you, Molly?
Hello, Nick. Goodbye, Nick.
You
Expected you to be down at Grafton's bank, Mr. Patrick.
Oh, yes? What?
Haven't you heard? Somebody killed the watchman and blew the safe about an hour ago.
Just a moment, gentlemen, please. Now, the Grafton Bank will be open for business tomorrow morning as usual. This robbery does not affect the gold reserve. We are prepared to redeem every one of our notes at face value. Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Patrick, must your paper carry this story?
There's no way to keep it out, Mr. Grafton.
My watchman. Been with me ever since the bank opened.
Why'd they have to kill him?
If there was just some way to keep this out of the press.
Well, there isn't. Why are you so anxious to keep it quiet?
Panic, Mr. Patrick. Panic. The people will think the bank is broke.
I just heard you say it was sound. Is your bank sound, Mr. Grafton?
I'm going to have to throw myself on your mercy. Will you come to my house as soon as you can? I'll tell you all about it. I've just been drinking to the collapse of the Grafton Bank.
Is it that bad?
It's worse than that. It's tragic. Tragic because basically the bank is sound. We have more than enough in mortgages, collateral loans, sound investments to pay off every one of our depositors.
Well, I wouldn't say your situation sounds desperate.
A word of this robbery will get around. By tomorrow, everyone holding any Grafton bank notes will be waiting in line to exchange them for gold. Well, there is no gold.
But I just heard you say...
You heard me trying to prevent an immediate panic. Trying to gain a few hours before the roof caves in.
How much gold will you need?
About $250,000.
Can you help us?
Judith, I told you not to ask him.
Well, let Dean answer. You work for Mr. McGivern. He has a lot of friends with money. Well, you told me that miners keep their gold in his safe. Maybe he could help.
Judith, Mr. McGivern isn't a banker. Most of that gold is just kept in safekeeping for miners who trust him.
Well, couldn't it be a loan, Papa? At least for a little while.
No, I'm afraid that's out of the question.
What worries me most is that my collapse might bring about a general panic.
How's that?
Well, there isn't a bank or a business house in this city that doesn't hold Grafton bank notes. Well, after tomorrow, they'll be worthless.
All right. I'm going to Jack McGivern.
No, I can't let you do that.
Mr. McGivern doesn't want to panic in this town any more than you do or I do. I can't promise anything, Mr. Grafton, but I'll try.
I need that gold before the bank opens in the morning.
Oh, Dean! Oh, if you can do this.
I'll be back. Don't you see? You've got to lend the gold. It's a problem for every responsible man in San Francisco.
Yes, I see it, all right. All right, Dean. I'll call a special meeting of the Vigilante Committee here tonight.
Order, gentlemen, order, order. Thank you. Mr. McGivern.
Thank you. I'm sure that by now you all know of the Grafton bank robbery. This robbery, gentlemen, affects all of us. Therefore, we must do something about it. And that is why I have called this special meeting tonight, to make a proposal to you. I propose, gentlemen, that we advance sufficient funds out of our own resources to maintain the bank's paper.
Where can we raise that much gold on such short notice?
I have sufficient gold here to advance the amount. I'll take notes for your shares.
How do we know Grafton's solvent?
Do we get any guarantee?
I say no.
No, count me out.
Gentlemen, please, would you listen to me for one
Shut up! Noisier in a cattle pen. Hi, Sam. Ain't seen you around, Ben. You quit drinking or something?
What are you doing here, Molly?
Oh, I heard about this shebang. Figured I ought to come, seeing as how I'm an interested party.
How did this woman learn of this meeting?
Oh, come on down off your high horse, Jimmy. I seen you considerable less dignified. Besides, nothing happens in this town that don't get talked about in my saloon. I heard what you had to say, Jack, about supporting the bank. Now, in general, I ain't got much use for banks. But if Grafton's goes bust, a lot of other places will go bust. And that means the whole town can go bust. Now, you wouldn't want to see that happen, would you, fellas?
Madam, I insist on an explanation for your presence.
Doggone it, Jimmy, I told you. You ain't forgot what happened a year ago when the Wells Bank went bust. Busted the town. Like to busted me. Now, I own the El Dorado Saloon. I got a lot of people working for me.
All right, Molly, all right. How about putting up some of your money, huh?
Oh, now, Jack, you know I ain't got that kind of money.
Why, you've got $40,000 here in gold.
You wouldn't want to see a poor old woman risk her few pitiful savings.
Well, you're asking us to risk ours.
Oh, ain't that no chivalry?
I'll match your 40 if you'll put it up.
And I'll throw in 20.
Oh, I think I'm gonna faint.
Ah, come on, Molly, do it.
You really want me to, Sonny?
If you do, they'll have to go along. They can't afford to have it said that San Francisco was saved by a woman saloon keeper.
Yeah. I reckon it would give the town a reputation for sinfulness. All right, go darn you, Jack McGivern. Throw my stack into the pot.
That, I am very happy to say, is the last of it.
Well, I don't know how to thank you, Mr. McGivern.
Oh, quite all right, Mr. Grafton. We will, of course, have to take your books along for an audit.
I have them all ready for you.
James King of William will do a fast job on them tonight, and if everything is in order, we'll release the gold to you in the morning.
Release it?
Oh, yes, of course. It's going to stay in Mr. Ploptick's custody until the audit is complete.
Oh, yes, of course. I understand.
Well, come now, Mr. Grafton. We're not worried about you, you understand. But even as it is, you know, with your vault useless, well, you'll have to admit that it's just as well to have an armed guard on the gold. Dean, you know what to do. Lock the door after us and keep it locked. And don't let anyone in.
I'll be careful.
Well, come along, sir. I'll walk a little bit of the way with you.
All right.
Good night,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Grafton.
Oh, good night.
Judith, what are you doing
Oh,
here?
Dean, I've got to talk to you.
Well, what is it?
Oh, Dean.
Takes care of him. Get Grafton and change your clothes. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, and it's got to be done fast. I still say we ought to finish him.
Nick, you promised there'd be no more killing.
Let Nick handle this.
But he said after he killed the watchman that he would...
I had to kill him. He recognized me.
I won't go along with any more murder.
All right. But let's move. We want at least a 5-hour start before they open up this place.
Oh, your Aunt Molly has made a terrible mistake, girls. What fools a man can make out of us women. It's this heart of mine, girls, this heart of hearts.
You got men trouble, Aunt Molly?
I let Dean Patrick talk me into putting my money into Grafton's bank. All that money. Just 'cause I lost a kid that looked like him.
Was it much money?
Oh, just the few dollars I managed to save through hard work.
Wouldn't worry, ma'am. Mr. Grafton's real nice. Give me $100 yesterday.
What'd he give you the 100 for?
Came in and had a drink and said goodbye. Going away present.
Well, why are you holding out? You know us girls put in the pot and divvy up later. Get it up.
Man, I was just...
Don't lie to me. Your Aunt Molly learned all the tricks before you was out of your didies. Get it up. If there's anything I can't stand, it's a girl who'll cheat in money matters. Well, now, that was real nice of Grafton. I always did say he was a real gent. Going away present? Where's he going? When? Don't stand there like an innie. Speak up.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Go back and find out. Girls, your Aunt Molly's bones is aching like all get out. Rose, you know that fella down at the stage office. Find out if Grafton is leaving for anywhere by stagecoach and when. Flower, you've been friendly with Joey the Narc. Get him to tell you if there's word of a job passing around. And start circulating around the saloon. If anybody knows anything about that Grafton circus, you'll hear about it there.
All right. We'll go.
And tell Susie to go on down and keep an eye on Grafton's bank.
Yes.
Oh, my aching bones.
Darling, what are you doing up at this hour?
Well, I guess I couldn't sleep.
Worried?
Yes. I took a big gamble tonight, Martha. Not alone that, but I persuaded other men to take it with me. If anything goes wrong, it's going to be a pretty sorry mess.
What will happen?
We'll be broke.
We've been broke before.
Yes, I know. But this time is a little bit more serious. You see, I'm gambling with miners' gold, and if I lose, well, we'll be deep in debt. I'll have to sell everything to make it up.
Then we'll start over again.
Oh, darling.
Florrie, did you get anything from the narc? Rose, what about the stage line?
Nothing. But I heard something. It's real good.
Well, what is it?
Grafton's daughter ain't his daughter. Not the way the fellow that works for him tells it.
Why, the old goat.
Mimi told me Daryl's leaving town.
What's that got to do with it?
Nothing, except Mimi knows Nick real good. And she told me he and Grafton been real friendly.
When's he leaving?
Mimi says tonight. And Jake, down to the livery, told me Nick rented the team and a wagon wanted fast horses.
Great Cicero sap. They must be planning to pull out tonight with all that money. All my money. I better get down to Jack McGivern's.
All right, I'm coming.
Where's your man?
What are you doing in my house?
Get off your high horse, dearie. Where's McGivern? McGivern, shake your leg out here.
Who's that? What's all the shouting about? What the devil do you want here this time of night?
Jack, tell this woman to get out of my house.
Shut up before I paddle you. Grafton's fixing to pull out of town tonight. I think he's leaving with Nick Darrell.
How do you know this?
My girls told me, and it looks like he's leaving with our gold.
What?
Oh, I was daft to let you make me put my money into your fool scheme, but I ain't now. You better get on down to that bank. I wish I'd never listened to you in the
Jack, your
first place.
shirt!
I'm no better than you.
Dean! Dean, are you in there? What happened to you?
It was Judith. I let her in. Either Grafton or Nick Darrell slugged me. Judith is in with him, Jack.
I tried to tell you a lot of things about that filly. This'll teach you to run around with fillies you can't depend on.
All right, Monty, all right. Where did Grafton go?
She was in it all the time. Killing the watchman. Everything.
Come on, man. Snap out of it. This isn't the first time that a man was taken by a woman.
She won't get away with it.
I asked you, do you know where they were headed?
They dropped word they were headed for Sacramento. Maybe a ruse, but we can't overlook it. We'll go with the vigilantes. Split up in teams of 2 men. We'll watch every road. Sacramento, Stockton, Monterey. We'll assign men to cover the docks.
Gone. All gone, every penny.
You'll get it back. They've got 1,600 pounds of gold, dead weight, going over rough roads. We've got a good chance to catch them.
Why don't you find out where they're headed first? Running off in all directions. You'll never get them that way.
Hey, Molly.
Call off your dogs, gents. They're headed for Monterey.
The road to Monterey. It was the very roughness of the road that gave us hope. A wagon under a heavy load could shake itself to bits if driven at any speed at all.
Put the wheel on that axle.
Oh, you could help a little bit, you know. I told you this wagon was too light for this load. All right, you can let it down. I'll tell you the next time anything happens. No. No!
That didn't happen too long ago, I'd say, huh?
If it was any warmer, he'd be talking. I'd say we're less than an hour behind him. If we cut through, maybe we can head him off. Gold came down on top of her. They're both dead. Well, maybe it's better this way.
Why?
Her neck was too pretty to be stretched by a rope.
There now, I think that does it.
You know, Molly, 100 years from now, no one will believe that you and the dancing girls in the El Dorado once prevented a panic on Montgomery Street. How do you feel about that?
Now I'll be able to sleep again. My bones don't ache no more.
Molly, I'm sorry I was rude to you before.
Forget it, dearie. Girls on my side of the street don't expect bows from girls on your side. Don't grieve, Sonny. That filly wasn't worth it. Come on down to your Aunt Molly's place and have a drink. You'll feel better.
No, Molly. Let's save it for a rainy day, huh?
California. Oh, I've traveled here, I've traveled there. I guess I've been most everywhere. But I like where I am today, and here is where I'll stay. Now, one thing I just can't endure is being broke and being poor. So I come west to take the cure, and here is where I'll stay. I've come to California, California. There's gold in them there hills in California. I've come to live where life is best, in the golden west. I'm gonna strike it rich in California, California. in California.